There we go. My family. Phone, tested it, made sure it wasn't doing that thing where the screen was going dark and it was locking up so you couldn't see the cards on the table. It was fine. It was fine all morning. It was working all morning. And then I check it just now and the screen goes dark. So I updated the settings. So every 10 minutes or so, I'm going to just tap the screen. I don't know. The weirdest thing. Denise, you're on Troll Patrol. Veronique, Troll Patrol. I'm going to make more of you also. I forgot what the word is. Moderators. I'm going to make more of you moderators. Because, yeah, there's some trolls about. There's some trolls afoot. Denise has got it. Mystic Mama, you're on the list. I got to add you later. And please, no offense to anyone if you want to add it as a moderator. But yeah, thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Oh my God. Less, more like more. This song has been on repeat. Bruh or gal. I feel like you're a bruh with an ad like this. Oh my God. It's so good. I don't even know how I miss it. Spotify is supposed to let me know. That's so good. I'll get it. Till I found my gratitude. Yeah, you know me. You know me. You get a wink. So yeah, before the Galactic update, we're still going to be in a higher dimension than 99%. But we're going to do a brief 6-dimensional transmission for that sister out there that thinks she's a Draco princess. I got to speak my truth from now on, family. I know it's like unconditional love, all that. I honestly, part of me hates to start a greater part of me hates to start the video off like this, but I got to speak my truth before just blocking somebody. So here we go. Veronique's going to put it in the chat. 6D download. Freaking love you, sister. Anyways, let me just rip real quick. I'm going to talk about the conundrum of this sister's existence. And please, to the 5 of you out there that think I'm talking about you, I am not talking about you. This is this person that goes as an artist, says she's an artist. So yeah, let's do this real quick. Whether or not this loses subscribers, I have to say this. Your existence in a whole is a conundrum, sister. Let me explain this to you. Why is your existence a conundrum? Your existence is a conundrum because due to the nature of your energy, which you could navigate and deal with, seeking help, talking to a counselor, talking to a coach, being in control of your own vessel. By doing these things, you could be in control of the mind more. By not being in control of the mind more, let me explain why your existence is a conundrum. You want a guy that isn't a beta. You're thinking this thing. You want a guy that isn't a beta, but your energy is demanding that there's going to be fights, there's going to be navigation, there's going to be the collision of minds and collision of heads, that this relationship, until you navigate that, cannot work out. How can it work out? Because by you attempting to be this dominant, distorted masculine figure in his life, he's not going to put up with that. He's going to fight with you. He's going to argue with you. It's going to eventually get toxic. There's going to be resentment. There's going to be regrets. And then that relationship will cease to exist. So without ending up in the future with just cats and rubaditos, yes, he said it. Navigate your frequency, sister. Actually navigate what you want, okay? And if you just change your mind and you say what you truly want, which is to control, then find somebody that you can control. But to say one thing, which is not possible with the other thing, this is a distortion. I like to refer to this as the Cardi B distortion, thinking that somewhere out there, there is some man that's just so masculine and so in his power, it makes you submissive. This is not the way. This is not purity. Okay. I was actually going to reach out. I wanted to help this person. I was actually going to reach out. And then I go and I look, and your Instagram says Bride of Satan. So I was just like, what am I even doing here? Like all of this stuff and all of these unbalanced people, just completely untethered people from where I was broadcasting with other people before. Okay, this is just not true purity. This is not true balance. So some people might be listening to this and be like, well, who is he even talking about? What even is this? I'm a lyricist. I'm a lyricist before most things. Used to do battle rap. Not that this is a battle rap, because there would be no battle there. But when it comes to speaking my truth, I will slay the troll. I will slay the troll. I will speak to the troll. I will bring them up where they need to be brought up, because there might be something for others to learn from hearing these things, from hearing what your distortion is. So thank you for stepping forward with your distortion, but you're no longer needed here. As you saw in 2017 and then just disappeared for 7 years and came back and you're calling me your husband. There's some mental illness here. Okay. So please find help, and please take my words not as hate. These words are so you can actually attempt to manifest that which you want, because the way that you're acting now and what you're doing, like I said, it's not possible to have what you want. And even if it was possible, the dimension and the reality that you would create by manifesting such said thing, that's not an ascended reality. That is not a reality where purity and truth are going to have a stronghold in your heart, in your mind, and in your life. So now moving on to the Galactic update, 7 minutes and 8 seconds. That was more time than most people get. I'm going to be honest with you. Galactic update. Because before the pick a skull, I need to share with you the Galactic update. Ooh, he's got a hot tray. He's got a hot tray. All right, so now we're going to go back up from 6D, back up to 9th dimensional consciousness. So here we go. Galactic update. Brother Bo! Welcome. Okay. So with the Galactic update, first let me show you the skulls. And this is not the pick a skull yet, but let me show you the skulls. Because what Spirit has been communicating with me is about the directions. The directions, the elements, the Starseed Lineages, these are all multi-dimensional frequencies. Whether you're looking at an element, whether you're looking at the masculine, the feminine, whether you're looking at any portion of this duality matrix or the trinity in the duality, which we will talk about soon. As we will talk about this and tune in on these frequencies, let's talk about, I'll have to just, Galactic update. I'll put it over here, 708 Galactic update. Okay. Because I need to draw something for you. All right. We're drawing a normal compass right now. Terrible. Is the batteries dying in this? Oh, I think the batteries are dying in the boogie board. All right. North, south, west, and east. Okay. So we're holding up a compass right now. All right. What am I showing you? Why am I showing this compass? Okay. Because with the Archangels, because if you want, you can just tune in on the Archangel. I know some people are triggered by the existence of skulls. Skulls were used in ancient times because there was only one spiritual person in the village. The one spiritual person in the village would use the skull for co-creation, for people's healing, for people's ascension, for their own intuition and amplifications, protection, many, many things. Once again, that's probably a video or a short for another day talking about why skulls. But when we're working with the skulls, this is why I work with them. So if you're triggered by skulls, please, you can pick the Archangel, you can pick the Starseed Lineage, you can pick the number, you can pick the Gemstone type. There are many other things you can do to look at this and actually tune in on this. So north, south, east, and west. North, right here, okay, being Uriel. South, being Michael. West being Gabriel, and east being Raphael. Okay, so each of these is split up in masculine, feminine, as the masculine and as the feminine. Okay, so some of these words that were chosen they were moved around and they were bastardized in certain ways, but at lack of better words, this horizon, this word where the word whore actually comes from, not that the feminine is a whore. This is something that has been completely manipulated over time. Mary Magdalene wasn't a whore. This has nothing to do with that. This has to do with a vertical axis, and a horizontal axis. So on the horizontal axis, we have Gabriel, clearly Gabriel, and then we have Raphael, clearly a masculine name right here. And I know you're thinking Uriel and Michael, those are both masculine names, but this is not the case, because we have Uriel, which is the guiding light. That is the north. That's skull number 1. And then we have Michael, which is skull number 4, the purple one. And then having this right here, this is actually Mount Saint Michel. So this is like this actual frequency of this feminine source. This is actually feminine in nature. The further I look back to the protective agents and the things that were doing these clearings and certain things like that, all the things like that, the further you go back, they were all feminine frequencies, the Valkyrie and so on and so forth, just for examples. The most powerful people that ever went about this planet doing whatever the heck they wanted, in my eyes, are the Vikings. And they did not call in masculine deities when they went out in the ocean, when they went to go do their pillaging or whatever they were doing with whatever justifications they had. Whoever is making the decisions, however distorted they are, to them, they're righteous. So whatever they were doing, they were calling in Valkyries is what I'm getting at, okay? So looking at these frequencies, because this is what's been coming in over the past few days here, over the past couple weeks, is how we have masculine, we have feminine, and each one has a masculine and a feminine counterpart, and each one has a masculine and a feminine counterpart. Okay, moving on. All right. When we have this is showing the duality. This is showing the balance of the self in the archangels, in these other angles. So when we see Michael in the south, even though we always picture Michael coming down from the sky and protecting us this way, this is actually representing this. It's not about stabbing the demon. It's not about stabbing the dragon. This is actually about learning to control these frequencies from within and what these frequencies are. This is the difference between a reptilian and a Draco. And I'm not saying every Draco has ascended, but when it comes to a true Draco essence that has done the work, which has multi-dimensional connections to the south, being this whole dragon going in the ground and rising from the ashes to become the phoenix, to become the seraph, the seraphim, this is talking about Michael actually showing that these things are conquerable. The thoughts, the suffering, how we look at something that's coming up in our lives, how we look at a challenge that's coming up from within, because when it's coming up within, it comes up outside of the self. Moving on, okay? Looking at these frequencies, the starseed lineages that are connected to these archangels, to these directions came up as well, as also. So to just share, because now we can pick a skull, and I'll be talking about this as well. When we look at the citrine, we have that light. We have the light of Uriel, the direction of north, the gemstone type of citrine, and this is also representing Polaris. Polaris is where the solar deities are from. Many of you watching this, when you're drawn to somebody like Alexander, it's because you're solar deities. I've been seeing this stuff come up in people's starseed sessions that I'm doing when I'm like breaking down who and what they are. And this is actually like fascinating information, because these are the people that really, really crave, and I hate to say need, but have a higher requirement for sunlight at least on the weekly, but I'm sure would prefer sunlight on the daily, which is most of humanity has a, should be getting more sun, but there's some people where that's brought up to a certain higher degree. Okay, skull number 2, we're going down to the east. So we're actually going in this zigzag, because this zigzag has effects as well when we're looking at this, because we have this direction, we have this direction, we have this direction, and we have this direction. So these two are actually working together. These two are working together. These two are working together. These two are working together to enclose space. There's almost this hourglass shape. And I'm telling you guys all of this because some of this, even if it's just one little grain of what I'm saying, is going to give you stronger control over your reality matrix or the lack thereof. So the green Aventurine being skull number 2, being the Archangel Raphael for today, and being Andromeda itself. Okay, because what do we always call Andromeda? The green angels. They're actually known as the green angels. People get the color green skin, all of those frequencies. But people also in the angelic community get green and gold when they're dealing and working with Raphael. So we have North Uriel and the Procyon. We have East being Raphael and Andromeda. And in the West, we have the water. We have the letter W. We have the West. We have Gabriel, the Archangel of Water. And then we have Sirius. Okay. So Sirius A, B, and C. This is where the dolphins and the whales are said to come from. This is a star system, if you will, for wayward spirits, wayward beings that had their planets destroyed. So many of you have been to Sirius. South being Michael, and as hard as it is to believe, Draco constellation. Okay, so a lot of things are being called Draco, and they're doing the work. This is not me bad mouthing anything from Hydra or bad mouthing anything reptilian, but those are examples of this whole tadpole becoming the turtle, becoming the tortoise, becoming the eagle, becoming the dragon, becoming the phoenix. So some of these things are so far back on the ascension journey, they're not even anywhere near where these Draco are. Never mind these ascended Draco. So I wanted to speak about this today because a lot of the beings that are here are talking about these things, and at lack of better words, they don't know what they're talking about. People are just using the word dragon, and the word dragon is very much so multidimensional. And we are those gods. We are those dragons. We are those angels. We are these frequencies because the one is in the all. So having this, oh, I'm scared of this. I'm scared of the skull. I'm scared of the dragon. I'm scared of this thing. I'm scared of these starseed lineages. In order for us to make it through the doorway, in order for us to be able to even climb the stairs, we have to get these 12 archetypes or 24 archetypes. All of these archetypes have to come to a head because we only get through the door together, my family. So the faster this situation can be, so I can expedite your ascension journey, how can we make this happen faster? Because somebody might be watching this transmission from a different reality matrix. Let me explain what I mean by that. As we ascend, think of it like stairs. Think of it like stairs, but when we walk up to the stair, it's like a wall. And many of you have had these dreams before, where you're getting up to the same wall, you're getting to the end of a staircase, you're getting to the end of something, or you're climbing, and then you get to this wall, and you're like, oh, I can't make it up there. But then eventually, after some ascension, after some trauma, after some awakening, after some some processes that take place, all of a sudden you make it on top of that ledge. All of a sudden you make it on top of that castle, whatever it is. I've had dreams like this. I know many of you have. So picture it like this. The stairs to get through the doorway, to get through the gateway to this ascension process, the stairs are so large, we need a larger being to make the climb. So it might be somebody getting to a wall, and they think that's a wall. It's not a wall, it's a step. And to be able to make that step, we need to ascend to a certain size, mentally, physically, spiritually, in our power, in our healing, in our journey, on our journey, to be able to get large enough to walk up the stairs, to get through that gateway, to get through that doorway. This process is done through the alchemy of the spirit, the alchemy of the mind, by finding unworthinesses and turning them into worth. So by doing this, this is why I wanted to share all this with you today. I also needed to basically also prepare you and let you know for who and what is going to be coming through the skulls today. Because normally I'm talking to one group. Today I'm going to be talking to that archangel. I'm going to be talking to only the highest, most benevolent frequencies that are allowed to come through in this container. Ram. And I'm going to be talking to the Starseed Councils. Okay, so the council that is in the highest order of benevolence from Procyon, Andromeda, Sirius, and Draco. So only in the highest orders of benevolence will they be able to communicate through Alexander, me being the microphone and the speaker on this transmission. Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here. So, without further ado, we're going to get right on into the citrine. We're going to be popping up this camera. Dolphy says, my dreams are helping me. Who need it? Yeah, the dream time is completely off the heezy right now. It's very, very awesome. Dream time has been, I mean, are you guys noticing this? I'll be honest with you. I dozed off, which I normally don't do. I'm still getting back into my body from how exhausting I loved it, but the Conscious Life Expo, it's a doozy. Driving there, driving back, talking for 4 days straight. I love it. But yeah, there's a getting back into the body when you get back. And yeah, I took a nap this morning. After I'd been up for about 3 hours, I took like a 25-minute nap and I dreamt. Normally we have to be at least an hour and a half to enter REM sleep where we get dreams. I mean, I take naps, every here and there over the course. It's not very often I'm taking a 25-minute nap and I'm remembering dream time. So when you're seeing things like that take place, when you're noticing that you're having more epic and more powerful dreams and remembering more, this is the time when Spirit's really wanting us to pay attention to our dreams and breaking down what they're meaning. So yeah, I just also bring that up to validate that for you. For those of you that are the dream walkers that are predicting the future with dream time. So yeah, let's get right on into it. I'm going to clear this. I'm going to rewrite Galactic Update. Which was 708, I remember. And now we are going to get into Skull 1. I'm just going to write Citrine for now. And the time is, oh my God, 22:57. Yeah, there was some fire spitting. There was some galactic updates. Your brother's here. Okay, here we go. Ba-bam. Yes, that song is playing. When you're in your divine masculine, it happens sometimes. All righty, my family, let's get into it. Highest orders of benevolence. Archangel Uriel, frequency of the north, star system, Polaris. I'm sorry, I just realized that I said Procyon earlier and I meant Polaris. There's a lot of Starseed lineages and a lot of information was coming through at once. So who's actually coming through in skull number 1 is Polaris. If that changes your decision, it's not too late to change which skull you're picking. Polaris is the solar beings. So it's Polaris Council and Archangel Uriel and the highest orders of benevolence that are coming through this card reading and speaking through Alexander in this moment of the I am, that I am, that I am. So, this Ich. All right, what do we have here? What do the solar deities and Archangel Uriel want you to know? Okay, here we go. Bottom of the deck. Bottom of the deck is representing the cloud cover that is over all of the cards. So looking at this is a 30%, 33.3 repeating percent card that is over all of these cards. So this is talking about the old patriarchy. This is talking about the old way. This could be talking about dad or some sort of masculine figure in your lives for anyone who picked skull number 1. Okay, moving on. Okay, so looking right here, we see the house on the hill. We see that there's some sort of belief structure that is difficult to manifest something. Is it truly difficult to manifest this thing? Or did somebody pass down from generation to generation some belief structure that something is difficult because it was difficult where they were and where they are from? This is not anything that could be blamed on these masculine figures. These masculine figures were there and they served a purpose for you in your life, because the reality that you were born into, maybe it wasn't possible. Maybe they were delaying this inevitable, which is you stepping into your true power of being the master creator, the master time lord that you are, and actually controlling the future. Controlling the future from where? Right here. Controlling the future from the right here. How? By being aware. By truly knowing what's taking place and asking the questions. This is the daily meditation that you can be doing. This is the all-day meditation that you can be doing. This is something that I will be talking about later, but this is something that's coming through the cards right now. Having the high ground as yourself, being able to do this on your own, okay? That is what is taking place right now. But when you're sharing your downloads, when you're sharing your uploads, when you're sharing your frequencies and your manifestations with others, you're not doing it alone. I know you don't want to do it alone. Co-creation is more powerful. I agree with you. Spirit agrees with you. But there is something that you're needing to learn on how to do this thing, and you're involving certain people that are not wanting you to do this thing. They don't know they're not wanting you to do this thing. They actually think what you're here to do is impossible, because this has been failed more times than it has succeeded. Has it already succeeded? It has. But how fast you get across the finish line, how fast you complete this and stop waiting for something to take place and manifesting the same traumas, the same issues, and how you're looking at those issues. That's the message from other dimensional versions. That's the message from the council. That's the message from Uriel, is some of these things that you're manifesting, it's how you look at them. You can look at what manifests, whether it's a challenge, whether something sporadically comes up, as it's a good thing. How is it a good thing? Because by something coming up, you know there's more work to do. You know there's more empowerment there. You know that wasn't meant to be in that present moment. So we keep grinding, we keep working, we keep surviving and thriving in whatever the heck these things are. It's how you're looking at these things that are manifesting, that are popping up, why this seems like difficult work to manifest, why it seems like it takes a long time, or something that you know you're here to do hasn't happened yet. There's a different belief structure, and the belief structures that you have are from the masculine figureheads that you looked up to. The masculine figureheads that Alexander looked up to, I looked up to, were very, very distorted, but it's all I had to be able to see the masculine creating and committing, if you will, magic. These magics in the reality that we came from were done from manipulation. They were done from shadow. But we were noticing that these people were able to control the reality, were able to create abundance, were able to do these things. That is not the case where we are. But there are belief structures in the speech, in the thoughts, and in the self that are still needing to be navigated, set into transmutation, as I was saying earlier. There are unworthinesses for those that picked skull number 1. This is not to trigger you. This is to trigger growth. There are unworthinesses that can be transformed and transmogrified into worth. We do not just get rid of the thing, whatever it is. Getting rid of the thing is never going to actually get rid of the thing. We find the thing. We find what there is to be grateful about, that being, that presence, that energy, that healing, that trauma that is there, that got us in alignment with our power. And then we turn anything that is unworthy into worthiness. We set it into motion by using time as our guide. Everyone wants to tell you in spirituality that time doesn't exist, but the fact of the matter is this: depending on where our belief structures are, time very much so exists. And let me explain why and how. If somebody has pain in their body, they can look at that pain in their body and they can ask themselves, okay, me doing the right things, eating the right way, doing all the things that I know I need to be doing to heal this pain, how long does it take? By putting a time date stamp on that healing, by saying something like 6 hours, 6 days, 6 months, or 6 years, you're at least setting something into motion that you know, and you can speak and think with conviction that this is done in 6 hours, in 6 days, in 6 months. The belief structures, because your belief will be your life, it's the belief structures that are going to set this into motion. The conviction needs to be there. The belief needs to be there. So being able to speak with the example that I gave, being able to speak in a manner which sets something into motion that has an end date in the future, that is true power. That is what you all knew how to do before you came here, but we forgot when we were born into this duality matrix, which is basically not even a duality matrix anymore. So looking at this, it's all about your thoughts, your balance, balancing the self, bringing these 12 parts, 24 parts, 108 parts. It doesn't matter how many parts there are, but setting into motion with the belief structure that you are bringing all this back together, that you are transmutating anything and everything that you find, and you will keep becoming more powerful and stronger every single day. So choosing the guiding light. Uriel wants to speak for a second. Having a guiding light but not being able to see the guiding light is going to block your access to setting your way into this motion, from getting from point A to point B. Being able to clear the smudges off the lens, off of the way that we're thinking, the way that we're speaking, the way that we're being, and actually being able to be guided towards the light at the end of the tunnel, because the tunnel is actually moving upwards. So as you continue to move onward and upward, and you continue to ascend through this reality, and the next one, and the next one, and the one after that, being in the appropriate belief structure is what all of spirit is wanting you to know right now. Benevolent spirit, all forms of spirit are wanting you to know that your speech and your mind are the keys for you. If you picked this skull, if you picked this gemstone type, there is something that you're thinking on the day to day, and all you actually have to do is sit down just one time during the day and look at what we could have done better. This goes for anyone who's picked any skull. If you're hearing this transmission at this point, to be able to control time, all you have to do is at least once a day, just tune in on the past and see what you'll do differently in the future. Even if in the future you make a mistake and you do not do the thing better and you actually do the thing worse, it is not a mistake. The mistake is choosing not to evolve. The mistake is choosing not to see when you can see. The mistake is choosing not to be guided when you are a guide. Thank you. Whew. All right. Moving on. Are we done here? Yeah, okay. Why are we so blind to see that the ones we hurt are you and me? The highest orders of benevolence of the Andromedan Council and Archangel Raphael in your most ascended state. Alexander allows you to communicate through him during this reading at this present moment. For the I am that I am that I am that I am that I am. Oh. Oh. No. Every 10 minutes, I gotta reset this camera. So, pardon while I reset this up. I want y'all to be able to see the table today. There we go. There we go. Oh, God. I'm like in between worlds right now. Alrighty. You stay right there. All right. Maybe a little reminder every once in a while. I wanted to show you guys this. This popped out. Temperance card. A little reminder every 10 minutes to tap on the phone so it won't happen again. Spirit, thank you. Call it 35 minutes. Not really sure exactly where I started, so I'm good. The competition. Oh, that one really wanted to pop, huh? Ooh. Hey, look at that. Both poppers. See, this is why we needed this camera working. Both poppers came side by side. What are the mathematical odds of that? Let's keep looking. Oh, this is good. These are good cards. All right. All right. Here we go. Water. The Andromedan Council wants you to know to look at your angelic frequency in a more masculine manner. As strange as that may sound. The Andromedan angels, because they have a different job, they have a different skill set, and many of you were asked to leave Andromeda before you were done with that reincarnation wheel and that constellation. Some of you are very eager to get back there, but your skills were needed here. Your force was needed here more than it was needed there. There is something masculine that you do, that you can build, that this is not even supposed to be looked at as masculine, but it has to do with what your fire and what your fires of transmutation do when you are in a state of action. Let's use the word action instead of masculine for the majority of this reading. There is a certain action you can take place as the green angel to affect the entire collective, okay? Many of us have something going on where we look at our skill sets as if everybody has these skill sets. Everybody does not have your skill sets. Some of us are better at feeling beyond the veil than seeing beyond the veil. Some of us need to be able to see, to be able to take the insects and certain things off the backs of our loved ones, off the energies in the fields, underneath the house, wherever these things are taking place. Some of us need a stronger eye to be able to see. Some of you need a stronger womb space or stomach to be able to heal, to be able to feel what is beyond the veil. This does not mean that you'll never be able to see. If those of you that picked skull number 2 are waiting to have your third eye turned on, this does not mean that your third eye is not going to turn on, or this is not something that you should be manifesting. This is talking about really excelling and accentuating your gift of being beyond the veil and acting beyond the veil, because this is how we reach victory. This is how you deal out justice, is by feeling what is taking place, because that is the masculine action that is taking place here. And then we got by far the most masculine of all of the divine feminine frequencies in the deck. So we have a lot of masculinity here coming up, but it's coming up in the form of action and truth. So what is your truth? Because there is a truth and there is a frequency that can have everything take place much faster when you're doing something multidimensionally that you might not be even doing at all. You do it from time to time. You're doing it when you're in a higher vibratory state. This is like you are a superhero, and you're only picking certain days to be the superhero. You need to set into motion the belief structure that you are the superhero all day, every day. This is not something that, oh, I'm tired, I need to take a day off. You can take rest. There is no taking a day off from what you signed up for, because you have a mission to do here, and you have a mission to do on Andromeda. And that's why this could be a daunting feeling of like, where am I supposed to be? I don't feel like I belong here. I don't, there's something that it's like, oh, well, once I get through this lifetime, I'm blah, 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 blah. I'm not coming back here. Those are all distortions. Those are distortions that lower vibrational entities want you to think to get you off of your path, off of your journey, which is something that is necessary. What is most necessary is you being in the appropriate frequency of your stomach, of your down here, the perineum, your root chakra, your sacral chakra. When you are in this grail, you're in this grail, which you've been wanting to get into. Many of you, and the huge majority of you, have done a lot of work to get into the heart. So it sounds counterintuitive to say, lower your energy back down. We are not lowering our energy 100% down to the womb space, but at least 25 minimum, but upwards to 50% of your energy should be in the sacral for what you're here to do. And when you're existing up here, there's no ground. There's no ground. There's just all this airy fairy, which it's all beautiful. The airy fairy is great. But for you to truly affect and create ripples in the water, to be able to actually affect with what you came here to do, which is a feminine healing and empowerment and awakening and taking down the veil. But how do you do that? How do you do what you came here to do? Both swords of truth came up in this reading. That's by being in your truth. That's by being in your highest frequency. Your highest frequency is what is these stones that are dropping into this pristine lake and making the ripples. When we are way up here, there's no ripples in the lake. We're not even accessing the waters of the lake. This is all well and good, but it's time for something to be a little bit different. This is not something that you have to permanently change. This is where you're needed now. And you might see that once you're in the frequencies that Alexander is speaking of, you would like to stay in those frequencies, and you feel more powerful, and you're seeing more miracles, and you're seeing your family members and friends have a better day. Archangel Raphael's happy. I was wondering if anything else was going to come through. Moving on. Bethany wants to play this. All right, 4436 for the Scorzalite. Is that even a real gemstone type? Scorzalite, 4436. Good numbers. All right, skull number 3. Here we go. The Syrian councils and the highest orders of benevolence from Sirius A, B, or C, and the Archangel Gabriel in the highest order of benevolence. Alexander will be your microphone and your speaker box during this reading for the I am, that I am, that I am, that I am, that I am. Siamo riusciti a quanto uscito. Oh, there it goes again. Can I just... Did that work? It did, yeah. Okay. I really gotta start tapping on that screen. You didn't miss much. Ooh, who picked number 3? Oh, hey, same position. Oh my God. Oh, this is good. Okay. All righty. Okie dokie. More water. Something is being built with your mind, body, and spirit. Something is being built multidimensionally. There is something that has been taking place with difficulty deciding whether to go left or go right with what you're building. You already started building this. So why would we stop building it in the middle of building it? Okay. There is something that is very much so the path. There's very much so something that is your life purpose, that maybe you're just building it in your mind. Maybe you're building it through manifestation. Maybe it's in your new moon, full moon manifestations. Maybe you actually started physically creating this. But to fully go all in is what Spirit is wanting you to know. If you picked skull number 3, that is what the Syrian councils are coming through. That is what Gabriel is coming through. The mother coming through as the ocean, as the water, is letting you know your strength in the water, your strength being near the water. Somebody that picked skull number 3 has a higher chance of being closer to running water than being somewhere like in the mountains. So there, and that does not mean that you shouldn't be in the mountains. It means that there is frequency and there is healing and there is basically just a meditation that becomes part of your life when you remember how important the water is to you. Whether or not it's cold outside, whether or not whatever's taking place, the water is very, very important to you. And the water is what's holding the frequency of the Empress, of the Mother, which is going to help you manifest that which you're manifesting. This would be something like looking even at everything that you're using. If some people are using oils, they're putting oils on the bodies and on the hands. But there's these sprays. There's the sprays that have the water. There's something has been diluted. You're going to notice a higher frequency from having the oils in the water, even though it's been diluted, so to speak, because there is something with the water communicating with you, through you, and this is the path to victory. This is the path to life purpose. So with getting to life purpose, with getting to your angelic mission as these ancient beings that you came here to bring back into this matrix of duality, you came back here to purposefully create karma, to learn what it's like to be a human. You had to create karma to then transmutate that karma to dharma, so you could actually know what it's like in a duality matrix again, because it's been so long. So there is this certain bit with those of you that picked skull number 3 of not wanting to make a mistake again. And I get it. You chose to come into a reality where you would make mistakes so you could learn what those mistakes mean to all of humanity. So with that, please forgive yourselves for what you did. Forgive yourselves for what was the mission. It's like original creator of your soul came to you and said, oh, we need you for this mission. You're like, I got it. What is it? And they're like, we want you to go in here. We want you to forget. And we want you to make some mistakes, but then learn that purity is the way. And you no longer want to make these mistakes. And you want to teach others about this, even if you don't even verbally teach them, through your presence, through your energy, through the waters of your body, your reality, and the water that is all around us, because we're actually existing in an atmosphere that some things swim in. Okay? So, sitting with that fact, the forgiveness of the self is necessary. The forgiveness of others that created these traumas is necessary if you're still seeing those things come up. There's going to be ebbs and flows in the water where sometimes somebody that we've already forgiven comes up. And it seems like we haven't forgiven them entirely. That is normal. That is part of the human experience. And remember that. You are a starseed having a human experience. So having the human experience and then getting upset with yourself when you make a mistake, that's not the mistake. The mistake is sitting with the same thing. And that doesn't have to be done anymore. We can see now why you were sitting with the same thing. You were sitting with the same thing because you didn't want to create more karma. You had to create karma. All that is necessary is you moving forward and remembering that what you came here to do was to help people in this way by reminding people through your frequency what you know. There is purity out there. There is purity within. There is a different lens in ways we can look at things instead of just standing still with this. And it's not that you're standing still every moment of every day. I want to let you know that. This message is not to trigger anyone. This is a certain way of something that needs to be done that can be completely nonverbal. It can be something in your energy. It can be something that you're thinking. It could be something that you're feeling. And these thoughts and these feelings can be addressed. There are many out there that think that there's no way to control this. And if we think there's no way to control this, then there will not be a way to control it in the future. There is a way. There is a way at looking at suffering or our traumas or whatever took place in this human existence with a different light that empowers the process that you agreed to. That process. That process was necessary for you to not have your eyes bugging out of your head and just looking at humanity like, what the heck is going on here? You had to learn what it was to be human before this lifetime, to the point where certain versions of the self might be telling you, this is your first lifetime and this is your last lifetime and you're only here for this. That is not true. I hate to burst that bubble. I'm letting you know that that is some form of spiritual bypassing, and that is some sort of plateau. To remember how multidimensional you are, to remember what you've already seen, these Mandela effects. It's already the case that you've been in more than one reality in this lifetime. So why would you not be in more than one reality on Earth, in other forms, in other bodies, but still with the same spirit that came here to get this job done? So this is talking about your multidimensionality and your angelic mission, which you will be victorious. We see that. We can see the card of victory. We can see the high priestess in the masculine form right here. We have the high priestess in the masculine form right here in the last reading. And was the high priestess at the bottom or sitting right here? I'm not sure. But either way, it came up twice in the last reading, number 2. Now, number 3, we're seeing it here again in the same position. Okay. Tap the screen so the phone stays on. Johnny, thank you, Melody, for the super sticker. Mama Bear, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Yes, Raphael wants to come through. Gabriel wants to come through. 1 second. There's so much focus right now on what is masculine and what is feminine, but the masculine and the feminine are in all things. All things are polarities. If hot is at one end of the pole, then cold is at the other. If light is at one end, then darkness is on the other. These are laws to the reality that you're existing in. When we're using these laws, we cannot look at any one thing as if it is and can only be that one thing. These are multi-dimensional distortions if we are in those modalities, because everything has everything within. And whatever is here is there, and whatever is there is here, as within, as without. So having these frequencies within you of the Empress, this is also the Emperor, but this is talking about being able to control what? The waters of the body. Being able to control this essence to actually call in true purity and divinity. This can be done in the highest orders of divine masculinity, and there's nothing feminine about it. This is the mission that many of you are on, is holding these frequencies of the mother and the father and the grandmother and the grandfather and both children, all as a whole, because it is that 6-part matrix of the honeycomb, which is connected to the waters, which is connected to these frequencies, which is connected to the honeycomb itself. The honey, the ambrosia, this rose, the rose that continues to blossom and blossom and blossom from within. And you, in your life and your traumas and your journey, have been that rose. So having, please, in this present moment, or in the next, once sitting with this, having a different view on the way things took place before, on what happened. It had to happen that way, my family. It had to happen the way that it happened, or else you wouldn't be here doing the work that you're doing now. And that work only gets more evident, more powerful, and more heart singing for you and everyone around you. This is when the enthusiasm and the passion really sets in. Being enthusiastic about being enthusiastic is the biggest thing you can do right now, because when we're in the vibration of enthusiasm, we have God within. That's when we know what to create. That's when it appears that the mind is thinking something that we want to manifest, but that is not the mind. That is your highest self. If your highest self is not already braided within, which is part of your mission. So being able to allow these frequencies to come in, part of it is casting the spell. So that is the most powerful spell for anybody that picks skull number 3. I am enthusiastic about being enthusiastic and getting and doing whatever needs to be done to get to that point of actually being in the belief structure of said frequencies. Thank you. Hey. Whew. All right. I'm sort of back. I'm going to write down some. Oh, tap the screen. All right. Thank you. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. I don't know why. Sirius skull makes the Italian come on. You from Series A, B, or C? I'm from Series D. I'm sorry, I had to. Like and share the video. All right, what are you? Fluorite. You ever hear anybody say that joke? They stole it from your brother. Let's be honest. Okay. What is this? Fluorite. Fluorite. The time. 1 hour and 11 seconds. Oh, God. Draco. Michael. Woo! All right. We're going to do this. No. Okay. We're not doing that. Okay. We're ready to go. Uff, talentici, se te conto un boom, dai, shut up, sotto. Bombo sotto comboio sotto. Ixi, sotto con bombo sotto io. Un po' sotto. You now and always have had all of the elements on the table. These mistakes that were made in this lifetime, these mistakes that were made across time and space, were not actually mistakes. Things were being done the way that we know this thing is done. Example, we can go and shovel a driveway from snow with a shovel, or we can use a plow. When somebody only knows about the plow, it is not possible for them to shovel the driveway. The plow might be seen as something that was almost violent or aggressive in some way. But in actuality, it was the only way that this aspect of the self knew how to clear the snow that needed to be cleared. one way or another, the journey that you were on and these mistakes that you made, these darknesses, these things that you seem to be transmutating, they were the only way that things could be done. And when we're doing things the only way that things can be done, but we're doing them for the betterment of all of that civilization, all of that humanity, all of that dragon essence, angelic essence, whatever the thing is, when we're doing things the only way that we know how to do them, how could that be a mistake? So these things are being perceived as manipulations, as darknesses, when the entire time what was actually being manifested was the betterment of the self, of the one, of the whole, was a stronger connection with the original creator of your soul. So looking at any of these things as if they were dark when they are not dark, and looking at future decisions and future things that you are doing, this is not a way of giving you like, oh, I can just do whatever I want. This is talking about other frequencies and other things that were done in the past, which have certain patterns going on now. And those patterns, for those of you that pick skull number 4, those patterns have been coming up to show you that you don't want to do these things anymore, that you actually stopped doing most of these things. You're choosing something different. So if you're already in the reality where you're choosing the shovel over the plow, we're going to keep using that example. If you're already in the reality where you're using the shovel over the plow and you're not doing this as aggressively, and you're doing this with a more pure feminine nature, and you're doing this in a more nurturing way, why have you not forgiven yourself yet for doing where your skills and your magic was from? This is an aspect of the self that has ascended numerous times through numerous reincarnation wheels on numerous planetary bodies, on numerous stars. So could you please be a little more lenient on yourself and completely understand that working with the elements, that by accessing dance, by certain things that were enticing others to do the work in different ways, this was never dark. This was never evil. It became manipulation here in this realm. It became darker or evil here. These things on other planets that you've already ascended on, they were never even considered evil or malevolent or controlling or manipulative where you came from. Because there is nothing actually manipulative about them when they're not being done to tantalize, when they're not being done to make a sale, when they're not being done to trick somebody, when they're not being done to serve the self. When these things are being done to serve the all, when they are being done to serve others, how could that in any way, shape, or form be evil? The perfect example that Alexander always likes to give is the leprechaun. The leprechaun, which is this fairy, which is part elven and part dragon, part reptilian in itself. What does the leprechaun do when he tells a story? Sometimes the leprechaun can identify that somebody needs healing. Somebody is in a rut. Somebody is making the same mistake over and over again. So the leprechaun tells them a story that they can see in their field. And they tell them a story about a person that doesn't exist. Oh, I have a friend named Steve, and Steve always does this thing. And I don't know why Steve always goes to drink alcohol or gamble or watches porn after he's doing this or that. And then he just kind of laughs about it and continues on with the day. But he knows that that seed has been planted. And he knows that this person, he's now actually been able to get through to this person, that if he just told the person, well, you know, so-and-so, you need to stop doing this, and all the problems in your life are coming from this or that, the person feels like they actually want to do this thing when they go, oh man, that's what's been going on in my life. That's the pattern that I'm in. Now, what have we just looked at right here? We've looked at lies that are seen as manipulation, but the leprechaun gains nothing from this lie. And this person that hears this story and decides to finally change and move into a higher state of purity and transmutate their unworthiness into worth has made all the benefit, which creates a domino effect of dharma, which then affects others and others and others, because when he changes his DNA, He changes the DNA of everybody on this planet that he'll never meet that's related to him. He changes and shifts the dynamic with his family. When he shifts and manifests and transmutates aspects of the spirit and the soul that have gone through traumas and multiple lifetimes on multiple dimensions, he affects all of those people and aspects as well, which could be considered nearly endless. Because when he makes those shifts from here, he makes those shifts everywhere. And that shift will take place and has already taken place. But for now, the thing that seems to be the speed bump, the obstacle, the barrier, the wall, whatever it is, no matter how big this aspect has been for the self, their forgiveness is key. And many of you that pick skull number 4 are saying, oh, this one's off the mark. I've already done my forgiveness work. There could be something that you were not able to see. There could be something that you do not remember. There could be something that happened when you were a baby. There could be something that hasn't happened yet. But it is necessary that you forgive yourself and you forgive others. Because forgiving others could be the thing that's actually taking place here. Forgiving the self might be taking place here. Because by looking at this as, oh, wait a minute, I've been stagnant. I've been not moving fast enough. I've been not looking at these energies with purity. There also can be things that come up that are having you look at something as if it was a mistake. Much of what humanity is looking at as mistakes are not mistakes. They are opportunities for growth. They are opportunities for empowerment. There are opportunities to choose something different in the future. And when we use the present moment awareness to make a different decision in the future is how you control time. How are you controlling time if there's an aspect of the self that you're looking at as less than, or you haven't forgiven yourself for something that you've done, or something that you've seen or heard about on the internet that this starseed lineage or these people or those people did? You're claiming guilt when there's no guilt here. It's time to move. Michael wants you to know it's about true embodiment. It's about pulling everything together as one is what is most necessary right now. There is some aspect of the self that is being kept at an arm's length with, in the old reality, good and just cause. Here, that is not necessary. This entire star system has been locked down, and anything that is here is in a state of transmutation. Anything that was locked in here was not allowed to leave, and anything that was outside was not allowed to come here. Remember that. So therefore, whatever it is, it can't be bad because it's already in the state of transmutation, or it exits the reality. Does this make sense? Okay. And you can do magic. Oh, yeah, you know what? We don't even need that other phone anymore. I wish there was a way I could fix that phone right away. It'll happen. Archangel Michael. I thought we worked with technology. I'm kidding. You kids. Any questions? He'll do questions today. He's got an open channel. Do. Any questions? How do we stay aware? How? Skull number 2. I feel like skull number 2 people have some questions. I'll give you guys a minute or two. We're just chilling. If you're all done, I'll see you later. Thank you for watching until this point. Thank you for liking, subscribing, all the things. My dad warned us about protecting ourselves at a young age. I didn't understand what he meant till I started walking in my dreams. I love that. Absolutely. Well, it's like, that's one of my favorite lines from, I love Neil Gaiman as an author. I do not like what they did to his Good Omens series. That's a conversation for another day. But in the Good Omens book, he says, be careful slaying your demons. You might kill your angels in the process. And that was one of those things I was just like, ooh, sheesh. How do we forgive ourselves? Oof. Okay. Ooh, yeah. Calvin. I'll get to that awake siren. Feels like the dimension went from pudding to jello, lighter. Yes, things are continuing to get lighter because the magnetic field inside the planet keeps raising. And as the magnetism is raising, the magnetism of the sun is raising. So this is like a multi-dimensional shift, which is actually physically, energetically taking place here. Beyond spiritual, it's mental, it's physical, it's shifting everything about the self. So yes, it did get lighter in that regard. How can we protect our sacral energy? We can protect our sacral energy by being in that space, Kylan. We protect our sacral energy by being down there. As I was saying earlier, as Spirit was saying through me, so many of us did so much work to get up to the heart that now, like, we think like we're here, we're in our throat, we're in our third eye, like so many people, and present company included. I used to not feel people's pains, which now I've learned in this reality. I know how to feel somebody's pain and allow that pain to become more strength and more power and more energy for me. Call it vampiric, call it whatever you want. This is what Spirit wants me to do. I'm actually able to pull pain out of somebody's body when before I used to just chill up on top of my field. Picture the sphere like the back of the skull. I would sit up here. My butt would be on my field with my head like this, and my feet would be dangling in my field. That's how I would actually perceive what was going on, because I didn't want to feel others' pains. I did not want to do what I came here to do. And I'm not saying that was my entire mission to do that, but to truly be able to empower people and empower myself and to heal my stuff and get in touch with whatever codependencies and all the things I needed to do in the past few years to get here to be the version of me that you're looking at now, I needed to be in my feet. I needed to be in my perineum. I needed to be down here in these chakras, at least, like I was saying, 50%. So being there, this is going to shift everything with your sacral energy. This is going to be shifting everything with all of you, because, I mean, even to all the divine masculine out there that are wondering why there's some collision with their feminine counterpart. And I'm just going to speak about this in the masculine and the feminine for a moment. This is not to trigger anybody. But to be honest with you, when the masculine is basically in the heart or higher and not even accessing these lower energies, and lower does not mean bad, but they're not in these energies, there's a certain lack of safety, and there's a certain enhancement of the more feminine half of the chakra. Okay, because down here we have the red, orange, yellow, we have the fire, we have the masculine, up here we have the blues of the water. Okay, so when she's actually not feeling safe because of something that could be completely nonverbal, now she's got to go like, oh, she needs certain aspects of the self to come in. The mind goes, something's wrong, I don't know what it is. We feel a feeling. The mind goes, hey, what's going on here? So now she's becoming a different version of her that nobody wants. You don't want, she doesn't want, but she needs to be that, because you've, and I'm not saying just to you, brother, your question just sparked this major piece that I've been processing over the course of the past year and a half or so. She's now feeling feminine, so she has to act and be masculine. When she's having to be masculine, she doesn't, all she knows of masculine is certain masculine distortions. I hate to say it that way, but that's the case. And when she's going, because she's actually emulating other masculines that were traumatic individuals, that's all she knew about the masculine. So now there's this whole like, oh, why is she acting this way? Why is she doing this and that? When she's not doing anything wrong. She's doing what is the byproduct of us not being in our nuts, brother. Plain and simple. Not being in the appropriate frequency to be in the waking life. I'm not saying you have to be there 100% of the day when you're meditating, when you're doing missions, doing healing sessions, dreaming, sleeping, all of these other things. There can be a certain lack in that regard. But having those frequencies of actually being able to build the walls of the container, the question you're asking me is how to have the walls of the container be able to have the sacral overflow and to have this grail overflow and overflow and overflow. And how does that overflow if it's the masculine's job to check for cracks in the container and protect the container itself? And then we're not even realizing cues that we're giving to our own feminine, to the feminine in our lives, to mom, to whoever. How can we know what we're doing if we don't know what we are doing? So just being more aware to why we're doing something, why we're having that feeling in the body, and just knowing what you're doing with your sacral energy and how important that energy is. And that energy is bigger than just the root in the sacral. There is the perineum, which is not the sacral chakra. There is another energy that is down there that is like this white sphere, or this white, almost like bean-shaped light that is truly the frequency of where we need to be. And it's slightly lower than the sacral, and it's in the center. Okay. So instead of looking at this as just sacral energy, there's a lot of energy that's wanting to be activated by the divine masculine, and we're needing to be in. And how do we be in that from up here? That's just my main question to you. So you asked me a question, now I'm asking a question to you. To be in those energies and to allow those energies to overflow, we need to be maintaining them. And to be maintaining them, this whole heart or higher thing that we were told in spirituality is the case. But what if it's 25% heart and 25% third eye or crown, and then 50% for the masculine down here, and being actually in that frequency that makes everybody feel safe and actually magnetizes everything to you that you want? Because that's when the water moves. When the water moves, we move the air. When the air moves, we control all of the elements, brother. Okay, so there was another question I had up here. I love you all so much, by the way. Awake siren. How do we forgive ourselves? I love it. By making the decision to forgive ourselves. By knowing that if there's something there, that transmutation can be done even if we cannot see what is there. By being able to just be in the modality of knowing that we are in the act of forgiving ourselves and speaking it into being and saying it with belief structure. The real question is basically, how do I believe? You believe by having faith. You have faith by seeing all the miracles that you've already seen take place. And you believe by seeing, once again, all the miracles you've done. So the next miracle that you commit, if you will, is saying to yourself with time, as the Time Lord that you are, how long does it take to forgive myself? And that can be a very short amount of time, and that can be a long amount of time. If the time is too long, it's just simply too long. There are other worthiness things that you're going to want to check in the meantime beforehand. But by setting a time date stamp on this is how long it takes to get these things done, and I've actually heard these things. The healer that worked on me the most recently, when he found a trauma that I hadn't found, that Alexander hadn't found yet, he said he's never seen this before. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this because I'm letting you know that transmutation is very real. He said to me, along these words, hand on a Bible, he said to me, he's never seen the trauma not have residue and all these like toxicities around the trauma that he needs to clear. He said when he found my trauma, it was just sitting there by itself, almost like a crystal. But the trauma was still there because I didn't know what the trauma was. But it's all about clearing the energy around this. The energy around this is forgiveness. When we get to the trauma and all this around it is already cleared and transmutated, the forgiveness is already done. We've already done that by accessing these energies that are around the crystal. I hope that makes sense. Let me do the next question on the list. Thank you, Katie. Katie's here, everybody. How do we stay on the highest timeline? Same thing. By being the Time Lord that you are, you trust. Anything that comes up that seems like a trauma, anything that comes up that seems like, well, why did this happen? This thing seems bad. We look at it as if it's excellent. We look at it as if it's good. And that's not spiritual bypassing to do that. If there's something that's coming up, there's growth to come from that. There's betterment to come from that. When those things stop coming up, the betterment has already been achieved. So by just knowing that you already are on the highest timeline is what's going to keep you on the highest timeline. And one of the most powerful things that's ever come out of my mouth from Spirit, which was almost blank slated, before that and better. When we say before that and better, instead of cancel, clear, delete, repeat, whatever this thing is, when we say before that and better, we're going to before this thing was said, before this energy happened, and we're improving upon what was already great. So when you create certain speeches like that and control with the speeches and control with your thoughts that universe, God, original creator of my soul, whatever your vernacular holds, angelics, you're doing a great job in this reality. I want this or better going forward. Thank you. By being in the state of gratitude for where and how awesome and how epic this ascended reality already is, but then saying, oh, good job. Just like we like hearing good job, you're doing a great job, so does Spirit, as odd as that sounds. So when we're like, Spirit, I like this, I want more of this or better. If something else comes along that doesn't seem like that or better, knowing that it actually is and waiting to see that miracle and that learning through that frequency, which we will absolutely see. So, wow, look at all the freaking questions. Look at all the questions that came in. Oh my God. Thank you, guys. We're gonna pause right there. I'll do Q&A again. Obviously, like there's some questions that came in. I wish I could, as I keep answering these, more and more would come in. Thank you. Kylan said, when I'm creating music, that's the percentage per chakra that it feels like. I understand what you're saying. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Kylan. Thank you all. Nicholas ridiculous. Nicholas ridiculous. Freaking love you, brother. Where's the fam? Thank you all for being here so much. Thank you all for supporting the channel, helping the channel grow. Thank you so much to the patrons that make this life and these broadcasts and these daily channelings a possibility. Thank you to all of you. Crystal Current for your energy tools, Galactic Tower to book a session with your brother. So much more to come. Remember, 2024 is our year, my family. It's going to be a while before we're in an 8 year. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4, 8. That's the dragon. Okay? And we're in a year of the dragon, which just began. It's a dragon year. It's going to be a long time till that synchronicity happens again. So please enjoy that frequency. Know that that frequency is ascending, and know that the dragon will eventually always become the phoenix. Mwah. Thank you for watching Galactic Tarot. I love you all so much, and I will see you all very, very soon. Mwah.